Greetings from our channel again. Even though Hollywood has always been full of romantic fairy tales, few romances can compare to the intense passion that exists between Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw. A power couple who enthralled the world, they were the epitome of seduction and defiance. But there was a tearful love story hidden behind the glitter and flashing lights. Characterized by constant heartaches and sacrifices. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, was a man with a strong exterior but profound wounds from a difficult childhood. Ali MacGraw, the beautiful actress who won millions of hearts in a love story, was caught up in his flaming whirlwind. Hollywood erupted into an uncontrollable craze when their gazes locked on the set of the Getaway. Was this passionate love, however, the start of a nightmare or a very lovely dream? Join us as we reveal the true tale beneath the glitzy exterior, a love engulfed in jealousy, control, and unhealed scars. If you respect Ali MacGraw and are interested in her turbulent relationships. How much did Ali MacGraw have to pay for her obsession? And after living in the shadows of such a turbulent marriage, could she ever find the light again? Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw's early lives and professions. Born in 1939, Ali MacGraw has a strong inner core that has been developed throughout the years. She was born into a complex marriage between two creative personalities and grew up in New York. Her father, a gifted painter plagued by mental illness, frequently left the family feeling empty and anxious all the time. Despite financial difficulties, her mother, a strong and tenacious woman, worked valiantly to raise two children. Ali's youth was marred by tense confrontations, countless days of financial stress, and the constant specter of insecurity. However, Ali was not broken by that turbulent upbringing. It helped to mold her into a fiercely ambitious and determined woman. Ali wanted to conquer the world, not just get away from that uncertainty. Her timeless beauty brought her into the fashion world, and she soon became a highly sought-after model. However, Hollywood served as her actual springboard. A significant turning point in her career was her performance as Brenda Potemkin in Goodbye Columbus, 1969. But it was her performance as Jenny in Love Story, 1970, that made her a household name. People all over the world were moved by the picture of Ali MacGraw, who was stunning, delicate, and vibrant. She was still that wounded girl, though, yearning for the safety and affection she had never experienced behind the bright lights. Then there was the world-respected Steve McQueen. His early years were just as terrible and horrible. Steve, who was born in 1930, experienced extreme loneliness and desolation. When Steve was still a baby, his father abandoned the family, leaving him in the custody of a mother who was unable to give him the care he required. Steve was sent to live with family, but the years of being moved around, living in different homes, orphanages, and other families just made him more jaded. McQueen was a rebellious troublemaker by adolescence and ended up to a reform school. McQueen gained survival skills there by learning to trust no one but himself. Steve McQueen discovered a way out of that challenging existence. Racing motorcycles around the streets gave him a sense of freedom and speed that captivated him. Hollywood caught attention because of his unmistakable charisma and rebellious personality. McQueen entered the movie business like a force that could not be stopped. He rose above the level of an action star with memorable parts in Bullet, The Magnificent Seven, and The Great Escape. On the surface, he was a man who feared nothing and was the definition of calm. However, he was still the wounded youngster at heart, plagued by the fear of being abandoned. Both were strong flames, but they had flaws that would never fully mend. Under the bright lights of Hollywood, two people with tragic pasts, Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw, met. It was no accident that they met. A new chapter full of ferocious desire and eerie gloom seemed to have been written for them by fate. When their unhealed wounds and unwavering anxieties clashed, it was a violent and alluring explosion. However, it was also quite volatile. The pivotal encounter on the Getaway set. Destiny arranged for Ali MacGraw and Steve McQueen to meet on the set of The Getaway in 1972, during the hectic days of filming and in the blazing Texas sun. It was the start of an emotional tempest that would permanently change their lives. This was not your typical action movie. Ali MacGraw was one of Hollywood's biggest stars at the time. She became the movie's emblem of romance and frail grief because of her iconic performance in Love Story. She was hesitant and anxious as she approached the escape. Her typical delicate leading lady attitude had to give way to a gritty one for the part. However, Steve McQueen's presence was possibly much more scary. The man who came before him was known for his haughtiness, mystique, and unquestionable charm. With his piercing blue eyes and carefree demeanor, Steve McQueen was a living legend and the epitome of cool. His wild, unbridled energy and refusal to be restrained made him the type of man who could enthrall anyone. Despite being well known for his classic action roles, McQueen had just as much charm off-screen. He was a complicated, erratic man who kept everyone at a safe distance, even while his passion was burning brilliantly, since he carried profound emotional wounds from a difficult upbringing. It felt like a slow-motion explosion when they first met on the set of The Getaway. The atmosphere between them became thick with tension and temptation as soon as their eyes met. There was no denying Ali and Steve's chemistry. It was much more than just acting. Everyone sensed the strong connection, which was genuine. The emotions that burst on television as they played fugitive lovers were not the product of rehearsed scenes, but rather of the real spark that had lit between them. McQueen was a man who radiated risk and magnetic charm, and Ali was captivated to his hazardous allure. This love story, however, was far from straightforward. Ali's career was greatly influenced by her husband, Robert Evans, a prominent Hollywood producer. Their union was a partnership based on years of mutual success rather than merely a glitzy arrangement. Because of his affection for her, Robert gave Ali the security and stability she had never had during her turbulent childhood. However, Steve McQueen's arrival tore through everything in its path like a tornado. McQueen provided no security, just a life lived on the brink, full of intensity, excitement, and potential for igniting at any time. Ali and Steve were unable to conceal their love for one another on the Texas movie set. Every look they shared and every loving action they made off-camera was keenly watched. Their connection was evidently more than just an on-screen romance to their co-workers and the entire film crew. It was something greater, more profound, and deeper. And more hazardous. Ignorant of the repercussions, Ali poured herself into this love like a moth to a flame, in spite of what the public thought. She acknowledged McQueen's seductive charm in her biography, Moving Pictures. As soon as Steve entered my life, I became enthralled. Whenever he was around, I occasionally felt as though the air was being drawn out of the room. Ali and Steve's love affair was like a raging inferno. Gorgeous, yet able to kill all that is in its way. Trust and safety were not something that Steve McQueen readily provided. He represented a broken soul haunted by traumatic memories and obsessions from his past. Ali couldn't help but be drawn to him, even though he knew he was dangerous. Their romance was everything from straightforward. It was a fierce, furious storm. And full with danger, the kind that may destroy everything. Ali ultimately made a decision that would change his life. She gave up the luxury and security she enjoyed before leaving Robert Evans to be with Steve McQueen. Hollywood was in a frenzy when word leaked out about their affair. Their relationship became the focus of public attention due to sensational headlines, persistent rumors, and constant public monitoring. Behind the headlines, however, was a love tale characterized by peril and mayhem, a path of sacrifice and tragedy from which neither could ever return. Marriage and Sad Sacrifices. In July 1973, in front of the public and the glittering lights of the movie theater, Ali MacGraw and Steve McQueen exchanged vows, entering a marriage that was both dangerous and alluring. It appeared to be a happily ever after for two of Hollywood's biggest stars. However, the reality was much harsher behind the joyful smiles and public embraces. Ali's marriage to Steve McQueen was a torturous game in which he had to make compromises at every turn. McQueen established stringent guidelines right away. Ali was forced to sign a prenuptial agreement by him, denying her any inheritance in the event that their marriage failed. It was an obvious expression of the mistrust and terror McQueen harbored from his severely damaged early years. However, love-obsessed Ali didn't think twice. Since all she could see at the time was the man she adored so much, she signed the document without hesitation. However, McQueen's most important demands were not written down. They manifested as crushing limitations and control over Ali's life. McQueen was adamant about giving up her lucrative acting career. The idea of his wife being adored and sought by other men was unbearable to him as a guy who yearned for power and control. Once a worldwide symbol of romance thanks to her part in Love Story, Ali had to put her stardom behind. Turn into the woman McQueen desired. A lady living in his shadow, a loving mother, a stay-at-home wife. McQueen was unusually jealous. It was almost compulsive. He was always afraid Ali would leave him, that she would succeed and discover independence outside of his grasp. He kept a close eye on her every action and prohibited her from meeting with co-workers or going out in public without his consent. Even while he openly flirted and interacted with other women guilt-free, the idea of her noticing another man set off his enormous bouts of wrath. Ali suffered this double standard in silence, feeling imprisoned in a glittering, golden cage that was completely devoid of freedom. Ali felt suffocated after being a proud and aspirational actress. She had envisioned living a life of her own choice and pursuing her artistic endeavors. Instead, she was forced to stay at their Malibu house while attempting to fulfill McQueen's wishes as a wife and mother. She attempted to find joy in the little things in life, and she poured her love into her son, Josh, from her former marriage. She was always lonely, though. She kept thinking about it and began to wonder if these sacrifices were really worthwhile. Not giving up her career, however, was the most agonizing aspect. She was harmed by McQueen's actions. Ollie felt as though his abrupt outbursts, emotional abuse, and harsh remarks were like knives piercing his heart. Once, McQueen blew out, questioning her for hours and making her feel bad about something she hadn't done when she was just having a harmless talk with another man. Ollie felt smaller and smaller under his unrelenting grasp, as if she were disappearing. As like she was really losing herself. The irony was that McQueen gave himself every luxury while fighting to keep Ollie under control. He freely mixed with attractive ladies and went to crazy parties, never feeling the need to cover up his actions. He didn't need a reason or an excuse. There was no one who could make Steve McQueen change his way of life. Ollie was abandoned, caught up in a whirlpool of erratic feelings. Divided between her increasingly declining sense of self-worth and her love for McQueen. She continued to love him and held out hope that her affection would mend his gravely damaged spirit, but this optimism only served to pull her more down the depths. Allie eventually came to the conclusion that no one could be saved by this love. She could no longer lead a life without a purpose, and McQueen could not be cured until he wished to change. She had lost more from this marriage than she ever imagined, including the years she spent in the shadows, the ambitions she gave up, and the sacrifices she made. However, the worst was still to come. Not only did McQueen oppose, but he threatened Ollie when she said she wanted to go back to acting and regain the part of herself she had forgotten. He said he would leave her if Ollie went back to Hollywood. Any attempt at reconciliation was dealt a fatal blow. Ollie at last realized that this love was a destructive power rather than something lovely or redeeming. She realized then that it was time to let go. From beginning to end, this marriage served as a terrible lesson in loss and love. Ollie McGraw had given up everything for Steve McQueen because she loved him so much. However, she eventually came to the realization that one-sided love could never fix the irreparable wounds. The price paid and the split. Hollywood was rocked when Ollie McGraw and Steve McQueen's supposedly unbreakable marriage eventually fell apart in 1977. Ollie, however, saw the split as the demise of a whole world she had given all to create, not just the conclusion of a wonderful love tale. The dissolution occurred more like a little fracture that gradually eroded a wall until it could no longer support the weight and fell apart entirely than like an unexpected storm. Once as dazzling as Hollywood's brightest light, Ollie McGraw has faded to a shell of her former self. To appease the man she loved more than herself, she had given up her career, her notoriety, and even her identity. They never recognized those sacrifices. Rather, she was surrounded by jealousy, control, and unhealing scars. For a long time, despite McQueen's growing cruelty and violence, Allie did everything in her power to keep her marriage intact. She remained patient, holding on to the notion that one day he might change, even while he imprisoned her in the cage he had made. However, as McQueen's abuse and control only grew worse, Ollie McGraw's hope slowly dwindled. Her declaration that she wanted to go back to acting in order to rediscover the lady she had once loved was the tipping point. McQueen exploded in rage, saying they would get a divorce right now if she went back to work. Allie could no longer withstand the ruthless edict and ultimatum, which was more than just a mere threat. The only thing left to do was let go after spending her childhood making sacrifices for a love that would never save her. For Allie, their divorce was a devastating blow. She was left with nothing but the shattered remnants of a life that had once had so much promise after giving up everything that a queen had to offer. It now felt like a terrible joke of fate that she had signed in a daze of love, the prenuptial agreement. Allie left the marriage without anything. Losing not just her belongings but also her profession, reputation, and the pride in her own value that she had once had. She returned to society as a forgotten lady, devoid of the fame, stardom, and most painfully, the dignity that had once characterized her. However, Ollie McGraw had to pay more than just that. She was forced to deal with an unfathomable sense of failure and crushing loneliness. She had staked everything on this love, and now that it was all falling apart, she was left with a life that was meaningless and rife with grief and resentment. Allie fell into a void in the days after her divorce. In addition to losing Steve McQueen, whom she had previously cherished, she had also lost herself. She experienced a life of suffering, regret, and agony. She blamed herself for losing sight of her own value after falling for a toxic love. Once the focus of attention, Steve McQueen also didn't find happiness after their breakup. His careless behavior and excessive use of drugs and alcohol exacerbated his already declining health. At the age of 50, McQueen passed away from a cruel kind of cancer in 1980. leaving behind a tragic life tale in addition to a huge cinematic legacy. Ali was devastated and grieved when he learned of his passing. She loved him despite their split and all the pain that characterized their relationship in a way that only a burned-out heart could comprehend. Any remaining optimism that he would change and that they would eventually find peace together in their final years was dashed with McQueen's death. Ali went into a serious crisis after the divorce. She battled alcoholism, numbing the ache of life and love with the cloud of booze. However, after reaching her lowest point, Ali made the decision that she could no longer allow darkness to rule her life. She started a protracted and challenging journey of self-discovery and recovery when she sought assistance at the Betty Ford Clinic. It was a difficult journey. Ali MacGraw, however, had seen some of the darkest moments in life. She was aware that she could go through anything if she could get through loving McQueen. Giving up alcohol was only one aspect of her recovery. She needed to reconstruct herself. Ali eventually discovered how to forgive herself and let go of the errors and poor decisions she had made out of love. She discovered self-love. After years of giving up all for someone else, she had forgotten this. Ultimately, Ali MacGraw was no longer the idealistic young woman who would sacrifice everything for love. She came out as a strong, resilient woman who had discovered that nothing is more valuable than her own independence and dignity, and that sometimes the price of love is too great. The road to recovery and a new life. Ali MacGraw had to deal with scars that extended well beyond the surface following the traumatic breakdown of her marriage to Steve McQueen. They pierced her soul deeply. She left the marriage a broken woman, having lost her trust in love, her work, her popularity, and her self-worth. The pieces of a once glory existence were all that were left, but Ali refused to let them define who she was. She had to set off on a path of reinvention, a trip to recover the person she had lost throughout years of control and sacrifice, in order to save herself from destruction. Confronting her alcoholism was the first step in Ali MacGraw's recovery process. She had resorted to drinking during her darkest moments in order to dull the hurt and fill the emptiness left by McQueen and their turbulent relationship. Alcohol, however, was simply a short-term fix. And Ali was aware that in order to escape the abyss, she needed a long-term solution. She went to the Betty Ford Clinic for assistance, where women like her who had once reached the pinnacles of success only to plummet to the lowest levels battled to start over. There, Ali was just a regular person attempting to heal the severe emotional scars she had carried for so long, not a movie star. It was not an easy recovery. Ali had to face the hurt she had been denying for years, learn to forgive herself for her past transgressions, and, above all, let go of her poisonous love for McQueen. She once again found the ability to overcome her addiction in the fortitude and inner fortitude that had seen her through a difficult upbringing. Not only did Ali overcome her alcoholism, but she also discovered inner serenity. A sense of peace that she had long yearned for while living beneath the shadow of a guy she had once cherished. Ali MacGraw made the decision that she no longer desired the glaring lights of Hollywood after leaving the Betty Ford Clinic. She wanted a more straightforward, peaceful life where she could live for herself and not for other people. She left the busy entertainment industry in 1994 to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is a far cry from the fast-paced, glitzy lifestyle of Los Angeles. She was now Ali MacGraw the lady, seeking inner peace, rather than Ali MacGraw the movie star. Ali MacGraw experienced a miraculous rebirth in Santa Fe. She started living a new life in the peaceful embrace of this tranquil land, concentrating on the timeless principles she had previously forgotten. By practicing yoga and meditation, she developed an appreciation for the small things in life. Ali found balance and reconnected with her spirit via yoga, which became a vital part of her life. In addition to practicing for her own health, she worked with yoga instructor Eric Schiffman to create the Ali MacGraw Yoga Mind and Body film, which let millions of Americans experience the benefits of yoga. Ali was able to have a significant effect without the glitz and glamour of Hollywood thanks to the film, which swiftly became a phenomenon and popularized Hatha yoga. However, self-care was not the only focus of Ali's new existence. She turned into an unwavering supporter of animal rights, leveraging her notoriety to spread knowledge about problems pertaining to animal welfare. Ali worked on a variety of initiatives, including authoring the preface for Paul, Prince of Katrina, a book that chronicled animal rescue operations following Hurricane Katrina, and filming PSAs for PETA. Ali saw animal protection as more than just a cause, it was a purpose, a means of giving back and atoning for the losses life had caused her. By the time she reached her later years, Ali MacGraw had matured into a strong, independent, and experienced person rather than the young lady who had been blinded by love. She discovered self-love. Enjoying the little pleasures in life, such as painting, gardening, and hanging around with old friends. In 2016, she even got back together with her beloved co-star Ryan O'Neal for the play Love Letters, which was a joyful occasion that evoked lovely recollections of a great past. Despite the intense suffering she had gone through, Ali had no remorse about what had transpired. Her life had not been easy at all. However, she never allowed heartbreaks and disappointments to define who she was. Rather, she made use of them to develop into a resilient, peaceful woman. Ali MacGraw recognized that although love frequently entails a hefty price, it is crucial to never lose oneself. She eventually discovered peace within her own heart, a peace that no amount of money or celebrity could ever purchase, despite having once endured the vast storms of love and fame. Life lessons and legacy. After going through years of upheaval and tragedy, Ali MacGraw came out stronger and more resilient than ever. In addition to being a gifted performer, Ali MacGraw is remembered for having persevered through and overcome severe agony. Although her marriage to Steve McQueen caused irreversible scars, it also sparked her personal development and rebirth. She learned the painful lesson that love is not always enough to save someone from the harsh realities of their history from Steve McQueen, the guy she once loved with all her heart. Ali discovered from this relationship that sometimes the best way to save oneself is to leave, and that no one can give up their identity for love indefinitely without losing it. Beyond her movies and her teachings on love and sorrow, Ali MacGraw has left a lasting impact. It includes her important contributions to animal welfare and mental health awareness. From publicly talking about her battles with addiction to becoming a healing icon, she used her celebrity to raise awareness of the value of mental health. She also contributed to a shift in how society views the benefits of yoga and meditation, encouraging these activities as means of achieving inner tranquility as well as physical well-maintenance. More significantly, Ali MacGraw turned into a fervent supporter of animal rights. She used her popularity to raise awareness of animal welfare concerns and dedicated her life to saving abandoned and endangered animals. Ali became a strong voice for animals who were unable to speak for themselves as an Animals Asia ambassador, demonstrating empathy and accountability. She did more than fulfill a responsibility. They formed an essential component of her legacy, which was characterized by commitment and sensitivity. Recovery is the most important lesson Ali MacGraw imparts to the world. She demonstrated that it's never too late to transform, recover, and rediscover who you are. Although she made many mistakes and experienced heartbreak, she never allowed those things to define who she was. Rather, she turned her suffering into motivation to go on and build a more fulfilling life. Resilience isn't about never failing, as Ali MacGraw shown. The goal is to always come out stronger, smarter, and more self-aware. Ali MacGraw, now in her 80s, has a straightforward, contented, and purposeful life. She paints, meditates, and takes care of rescued pets during the day, appreciating each moment with great appreciation. Hollywood's attention is no longer necessary for her to establish her value. Rather, she finds contentment in the little pleasures that come with simplicity. Ali has lived, loved, stumbled, healed, and at last found peace in a life she can call her own. Her new existence is a testament to true freedom from the constraints of the past and from the urge to fit in. After listening to Ali MacGraw's tale of love, do you think that having the capacity to love oneself and lead the life one truly wants is a greater measure of freedom than fame or love? Please add a remark stating, "Yes, Ali MacGraw," if you share this view and have sympathy for what Ali went through. Please join us in the discussion by leaving a comment that reads, "Yes, Steve McQueen," if you find yourself endorsing his version of their relationship. We appreciate you viewing this poignant and dramatic tale of Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw, the power couple in Hollywood. Remember to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future films if you enjoy interesting and distinctive tales about the lives of well-known celebrities and prominent figures. See you in the upcoming videos.